Hello, this is a video about what to consider when you are presenting a case in group supervision. When it's your time to present a case, make sure you have set aside some space before the supervision meeting so that you can have some time for your own personal prayer practices that would enable you to be able to come to the meeting in a more grounded way. Pray for your openness and pray for your courage to present, maybe in a way that you aren't familiar with or aren't used to. Then, on the morning of your supervision, reread your CRF again and reread your RDF if you're coming with one to remind you of what arose in you that inspired you to bring this case to supervision. As you review it again, note if anything has shifted in you as you filled it out. You can take time now to rephrase that focus question if you become aware that something has become more clear or maybe closer to the heart of the matter for you. This will help you come to the group with a clear sense of focus. After you read these documents before the group meeting, I want you to lay the documents aside and just let them be put to rest until the actual meeting time. You can entrust your current learnings about this, insights, and even your own questions that still exist to God. In the actual meeting, when you present your case, here are some things to keep in mind. What the group would like to know is your focus question and your statement. Any relevant context that may surround that question or statement that you're bringing. We really want to know your movements of grace during that session that may be notable. And lastly, we desire just to hear your focus statement or question again. As you talk about the case a little bit, you may notice that even more shifting or maybe insight comes to the statement or question you were bringing at the beginning. There may be a more specific way you want to express your focus to the group after your initial sharing with the group. So take your time and restate or rephrase your focus to the group again at the end of your case presentation time. Then we will have time and silence around your focus question to allow a spaciousness to be given to each member of the group so that we can just receive what you have offered to us and gain a fresh awareness of the experience in this present moment together. Afterwards, the group then will be invited to ask any clarifying questions that arose during the silence. This is so that the group can understand the context of the case that you are presenting and your area of focus. Once the clarifying questions have been considered, we will move into the exploration stage, where we will take time to explore the conversation and how the Spirit is stirring within each member of the group. Let's take a minute and look at a video where someone is presenting a case in group supervision that I was a part of. Please be aware that you will only see the speaker in view, though the group members will actually come into the video as they ask their particular questions. This is an 8-minute video, and after we're done with that, I will close with a few words of encouragement.
Well, Sarah, we've come together for supervision this evening around the CRF that you brought us. And I was wondering if you could just begin by giving us a little bit of background. What do we need to know to accompany you well this evening?
Thanks, Michelle. This is a session that I had a few months ago, but it still has some energy for me, particularly in regards to work-life integration and how work can be a source of pulling towards God. And so this session was with a directee that I've been accompanying for a few years, but this session was my first spiritual direction session after the summer, after taking a short hiatus from direction over the summer. So there was certain feelings of curiosity and wondering how I'd feel back in the space of spiritual direction again. I was very intentional about grounding myself physically and spiritually before this session. And there was a sense of wonder throughout the session. But when I wrote my focus paper, my CRF, my focus was wondering if I was layering on my own meaning. Was I pushing a certain interpretation that was serving my need for kind of a tidiness in our sharing, our conversation, or was it really divinely led? This directee has some past experience of being really harmed by a work environment and having that be a real source of discord in his prayer life. And in this session, he spoke really eloquently about the way that he found his work kind of drawing him towards God. And so I just ask in this session to help me explore where the reason why this session might still have energy for me. Is there more fruit for me to explore, both in terms of how I accompanied him, but maybe even pointing an arrow to my own life? Is there an unmet longing or desire that I have that was surfaced in this session for my own spiritual life that I need to tend to?
Thank you for that beautiful sharing, Sarah. Shall we all just take a moment in prayerful presence to reflect upon what Sarah has said and to see if we have any clarifying questions that bubble up for us? And then I'll break us from the prayer with that invitation for those questions. Amen. Are there any clarification questions that you have for Sarah that are necessities for us accompanying her together today?
I have a question. Yeah, so Sarah, in terms of your description of your own, the word you used was longing. I'm just wondering if this is something that is recurring for you, or is it something that sort of came up as a result of your meeting with this particular directee?
I would say the longing preceded the session, but I think that the session kind of shone a light on that longing, or gave me kind of a renewed motivation to tend to that longing. But the longing, preceded the session.
Sarah, can you say just a little bit more about your awareness of what the unmet longing is? if it's kind of present to you now?
Yeah, I think the unmet longing, I was in the dialogue I prepared for this session, was aware of the directee having um, kind of an implicit feeling that he wasn't measuring up in prayer, and like wanting to get back on track. And I had a real visceral response to that in my body. That was towards the beginning of the session. Towards the end of the session, he described um, not a work-life balance, but a desire for a work-life integration. And that also felt, the word integration was also had a very strong visceral reaction in me. So I think that the longing, the arrows are pointing to that longing. Kind of aware of this sense of maybe not measuring up and a deeper longing for integration.
Hopefully this was helpful for you to watch someone present a case in the context of group supervision. I know I love hearing other directors share about their spiritual direction sessions and participating in the further exploration of them with them. I also enjoy presenting cases and receiving that same shared wisdom from the group. Though I have to admit sometimes I do get nervous doing so, and sometimes when I'm presenting a case, I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, or my body might feel a bit shaky, especially when I'm even less clear about what is actually happening internally for me in regards to a particular session. So this can show up even in really safe group settings. If this happens to you, I just want you to know that at any point you can take a pause to collect yourself, take a couple of deep breaths, and ask for the support that you need. Also, you likely already know the joy when you listen to another talk about their spiritual direction practice. Keep that in mind when you present your case. You're offering them that same gift. So be able to receive their joy in being with you. Lastly, remember that the facilitator is there the entire time to guide the whole process and to help you with any questions that you or other group members might have, so that afterwards you all get to notice new freedoms, awarenesses, and skills that arose for the group during the exploration of your case. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.